Empire on the Brink. Unknown craft sighted, no history, no origin, and impossibly fast, Part 3. The galaxy had grown quiet. For centuries, the Empire ruled the stars with unmatched power. Its fleet stretched across hundreds of systems, its commanders were feared, and its laws were absolute. Yet in the edges of the outer rim, far from the bustling imperial capitals, whispers of something strange began to spread. Captain Alara Voss, a human commanding the scout ship Horizon's Edge, was the first to notice the anomaly. She sat in the cockpit, her eyes scanning the holographic displays that tracked every ship, station, and asteroid in the sector. "Sensors picking up something," she murmured. Her voice was calm, but her mind raced. "What is it?" her co-pilot, Lieutenant Kale, asked. He was younger, inexperienced, and visibly uneasy. Humans were rare in this command position, but Alara had earned her place through skill, not politics. "It's unlike anything we have seen," Alara replied. The screen showed a blip moving faster than any known ship. Not just fast, impossibly fast. Faster than Imperial interceptors, faster than experimental war vessels. It didn't follow any known trajectory or pattern. It simply appeared, crossed space, and vanished. The Empire's communication network lit up almost instantly. Fleet commanders demanded identification, origin, and threat assessment. Every system the unknown craft passed reported the same. It moved faster than technology should allow, showed no signs of weapons, and left no trace behind except faint energy signatures that disappeared as quickly as they appeared. In the high halls of the Imperial Command, panic began to rise. "If we cannot track it," one admiral argued, "then we cannot defend against it. The outer rim could fall before we even know what hit it." Others dismissed him, confident that the Empire's fleets were unbeatable. But the truth was undeniable. This craft was something entirely new. Alara and Kale worked quickly. Using the ship's advanced sensor suite, they attempted to follow the craft's trajectory. Every calculation was futile. Every prediction failed. The craft appeared to anticipate their moves, always just beyond reach. Alara realized something profound. This was not a mindless ship. It was intelligent. As the hours passed, reports came from colonized worlds in the outer rim. People described flashes in the sky, lights that moved like fire across the stars. Some called it a comet, others feared it was a weapon from a rival empire. But Alara knew better. "It's observing us," she told Kale. "It's not here to destroy, it's studying." The Empire, unwilling to admit weakness, sent fleets to intercept. Massive warships deployed across several systems, ready for battle. But the unknown craft ignored them. It didn't attack, it didn't hide. It simply moved at a speed no fleet could match. Fighters chasing it disappeared from sensors within moments, reappearing hours later in entirely different sectors. It was as if the craft could bend space itself. Alara's human intuition gave her a unique advantage. Where others saw only a threat, she saw patterns. The craft seemed to move with purpose, pausing at certain coordinates, then jumping forward with unthinkable speed. She called it the dance. The Empire saw it as chaos. Humans saw it as intelligence. While the larger fleets panicked, Alara made a decision. She would not wait for orders. "Prepare the ship," she told Kale. "We're following it carefully, but we're following. I want to understand it before anyone else destroys it out of fear." The Horizon's Edge moved into position. Alara relied on experience rather than raw speed, predicting where the craft might appear next. Hours stretched into days, and still, the craft remained a mystery. Yet during those long hours, Alara noticed something subtle: energy fluctuations that repeated in patterns. Brief pulses that might be signals, tiny gaps in its movement that suggested communication. "What if it's trying to talk to us?" Kale asked hesitantly. Alara considered this. "Then we have to listen carefully. If we respond correctly, maybe it will trust us." She began inputting the patterns into the ship's data arrays, running simulations to predict the next pulse, the next pause, the next movement. The Empire's generals laughed at her methods. "You're chasing a ghost," one said. "Stop wasting resources." But Alara knew better. The unknown craft was no ghost. It was a test. And humans, she believed, were the only ones capable of understanding the rules of that test. Late one night, in the silence of space, the craft did something unprecedented. It slowed just slightly, appearing near the horizon's edge. The ship's sensors went wild, trying to interpret the energy readings. Alara held her breath. The craft hovered as if considering them. Alara initiated a slow approach. "No sudden moves," she told Kale. "We show we are not a threat." The humans in the cockpit felt a strange mix of fear and awe. This was history unfolding in real time. For centuries, the Empire had believed it was the center of power, untouchable. And yet here was a vessel that reminded them how small and unprepared they truly were. Then came the first signal, subtle and strange. It wasn't words, not in any language known to the Empire. Instead, it was a series of light pulses and vibrations that ran along the hull of the ship. Kale frowned, trying to interpret it. Alara, relying on human pattern recognition rather than artificial algorithms, noticed the sequence. It repeated every 7 pulses, then paused for 2. It was deliberate. It was intelligent. "It wants to communicate," she whispered. "And only those who can think, adapt, and pay attention will understand." The implications were enormous. If the Empire failed to recognize this, humans could be the only ones to make first contact. Every commander in the galaxy was focused on power, weapons, and speed. Humans focused on observation, creativity, and understanding. That difference could decide the future of the Empire itself. As the days passed, Alara's small team decoded more patterns. Each message revealed glimpses of a vast, ancient civilization, one that had mastered speeds far beyond the Empire's understanding. It hinted at knowledge, exploration, and guardianship, not conquest. The humans were learning that the unknown craft was not a threat but a challenge, a bridge between civilizations. The Empire, growing impatient, demanded results. "Destroy it if it does not comply," one official shouted. But the humans aboard Horizon's Edge refused. Alara knew that violence would end any chance of understanding. And humans were uniquely capable of seeing that the future required patience, insight, and courage, not mere firepower. Late one evening, the craft accelerated suddenly, vanishing before any human eyes. The Empire panicked. Fleets launched after it, only to lose track again. Alara, however, had learned to anticipate its moves. Using subtle energy signatures and timing, she charted its path across the outer rim, plotting coordinates that no Imperial ship dared to follow. "What are we seeing?" Kale asked, overwhelmed. "The future," Alara replied. "And humans will define it, not by speed, not by weapons, but by our ability to think, to adapt, and to face the unknown with courage." The first part of the encounter ended not with a battle, but with understanding. The Empire saw only danger, fear, and the unknown. Humans saw possibility. That difference would soon decide who would survive when the full nature of the unknown craft revealed itself. For now, the Horizon's Edge returned to the nearest human-controlled station, carrying data that no Imperial fleet could match. Alara knew that the next encounter would be critical. The craft's intelligence was unlike anything known, and it would test humans in ways the galaxy had never seen. But she also knew this: humanity was ready. The Empire might be on the brink, but humans had the chance to redefine the galaxy and prove that even in the shadow of fear, courage and intellect could shine brighter than any weapon. And so the stage was set. The unknown craft, impossibly fast, awaited its next move. And humans, small, underestimated, and persistent, were ready to meet it head-on. The Horizon's Edge drifted into the quiet hum of the human-controlled space station, its sensors still glowing faintly with the traces of the unknown craft. Captain Alara Voss leaned against the console, reviewing the streams of data that had poured in from the encounter. Her crew worked silently, piecing together sequences, testing patterns, and recording every detail. Each small insight brought them closer to understanding the craft and the challenge it represented. The Empire's fleets had begun to react more aggressively. Messages flooded the station, commands to intercept, destroy, or simply track the craft. Fleet admirals demanded immediate reports, but the humans knew better than to act with haste. While others relied on firepower and intimidation, Alara relied on reasoning, observation, and intuition. That was humanity's strength. "Captain," Lieutenant Kale said, approaching her with a data tablet, "I've analyzed the last set of energy pulses. There's a pattern here, a kind of rhythm. It's almost deliberate, like it's guiding us somewhere." Alara's eyes brightened. "Exactly," she said. "It's leaving breadcrumbs. We just need to follow them carefully." Following the unknown craft was not a simple pursuit. Its movements were faster than any known vessel, appearing and disappearing without warning. But by observing the energy pulses, Alara realized it was not moving randomly. It was leaving a trail, testing the intelligence and persistence of those who observed it. "Prepare the ship," she told Kale. "We're going out again. This time we go not to chase but to understand." The horizon's edge accelerated into the outer rim, past asteroid fields and forgotten colonies. Humans were not the fastest, but they were clever. Alara used prediction algorithms combined with intuition to anticipate where the craft would appear next. Every jump was a calculated risk. Every choice mattered. Hours turned into days. The humans followed subtle signals, sometimes pausing to decode patterns, other times daring small maneuvers to test the craft's reactions. Slowly, a picture began to form. The craft seemed to move toward locations with histories, ancient colonies, abandoned outposts, derelict stations. It was as if it sought knowledge, searching for evidence of civilizations, or perhaps testing whether those who followed it could recognize value in the forgotten. The Empire grew impatient. "We have lost enough time," one admiral barked during a communication. "All this caution is folly. Destroy the intruder before it disappears again." Alara ignored the message. Humans had learned long ago that force alone could never solve every problem. She trusted her instincts and her team's abilities. The unknown craft was testing not weapons, but intellect, and humans had a stubborn way of thinking that no Empire bureaucracy could match. On the fourth day of pursuit, the horizon's edge received a direct pulse from the craft. This time it was unmistakable. The pulse was long and steady, almost like a beacon. Alara studied it carefully. "It's inviting us," she said softly. "Not threatening, inviting." Kale looked uneasy. "Inviting? How can a craft like that invite us?" Alara smiled faintly. "It's trying to communicate, and it chose humans to understand it first." The journey led them to a forgotten system at the very edge of the galaxy. The planets were dead, moons scattered in strange orbits. Yet there, hovering in the black void between two gas giants, was the craft. Its surface gleamed with colors no human eye had seen, reflecting light in impossible ways. It was both terrifying and beautiful. Alara ordered the ship to slow, approaching cautiously. "We don't know what it can do," she reminded the crew, "but we will not act rashly." The craft responded instantly. Small pulses of energy rippled outward, enveloping the horizon's edge. The ship's instruments went wild, reading impossible fluctuations of energy, yet no harm came to them. Alara realized that the craft was testing not just the humans' courage, but their composure. For the next several hours, humans aboard the ship worked tirelessly. They tried to decipher the pulses, translate the rhythm into understandable patterns, and predict the craft's next move. Slowly, they began to notice a form of logic. The signals were not words, not numbers, they were ideas. Concepts of movement, exploration, observation, and cooperation. This is incredible, Kale said finally. It's teaching us something. Alara nodded. Yes, and it's learning from us too. Every response we make matters. Suddenly, the craft shifted. Its speed increased, and the humans had to adapt instantly. The horizon's edge danced through space, carefully matching trajectories and responding to subtle energy pulses. The crew felt exhilaration and fear in equal measure. No fleet, no empire could perform like this. Only humans, with their creativity and ability to adapt under pressure, could keep pace. Then came the first breakthrough. One of the engineers aboard the ship, a young human named Lyra, noticed that the energy pulses followed a numerical pattern based on prime numbers. "It's not random," she shouted. "It's a code, and it's simple once you see it." Alara leaned over the console. "Prime numbers, that's classic. It's using a universal language, mathematics. It's smart, but it expects intelligence to recognize patterns." Using Lyra's observation, the humans developed a method to respond. Small pulses from the horizon's edge mirrored the craft's sequence. At first, nothing happened. Then, the craft slowed, almost imperceptibly. It adjusted its path, circling the humans in a careful, deliberate motion. "They're acknowledging us," Kale whispered. "It understands that we understand." Alara allowed herself a brief smile. "Yes, this is the first step. We're building trust." The following days tested every skill the humans possessed. The craft led them through dense asteroid belts, past dormant suns, and over hidden wormholes. Every step required careful observation, patience, and ingenuity. Any mistake could end their pursuit, yet the humans pressed forward, relying on creativity and adaptability rather than brute force. Meanwhile, back in the Imperial Command, frustration grew. Fleets had followed the humans' path but failed to keep up. Warships designed for combat could not anticipate the subtle intelligence of the unknown craft. Admirals shouted orders that went unheeded, fleets moved chaotically, and the Empire's confidence began to falter. Humans, once considered minor players, were now the galaxy's only hope of understanding what was approaching. On the seventh day, the humans arrived at a massive, ancient space station, long abandoned, orbiting a lifeless planet. The craft hovered above it, energy pulses radiating outward. Alara understood immediately. This was a test. The station contained relics of a civilization that had mastered space travel long before the Empire. It was a library of history, knowledge, and culture. "Look at this," Lyra said, transmitting images to the main console. Holographic projections of star maps, ancient technology schematics, and alien texts filled the bridge. "They want us to see what they know, what they value." Alara studied the station. "They are testing us, not just our intelligence but our respect for knowledge. The Empire would have destroyed this without a second thought. We will learn and they will recognize it." The craft pulsed, responding to their attention and curiosity. It circled the station slowly, showing areas of particular importance. Humans moved carefully, documenting everything, asking questions through the pattern-based communication. The crew of the Horizon's Edge realized that this encounter was not just about speed or power. It was about understanding, cooperation, and observation. As the human crew explored the station, they uncovered maps showing previously unknown regions of the galaxy, energy sources beyond anything the Empire had discovered, and records of civilizations lost to time. Every discovery was a test of judgment, patience, and creativity. And every time humans succeeded, the craft acknowledged them with pulses of energy, almost like a nod of approval. Alara realized something crucial. The unknown craft was not a weapon. It was a teacher, a guardian, and a challenge designed to measure the worth of those who pursued it. And the humans had proven themselves. When they returned to the Horizon's Edge, the crew felt a new sense of purpose. The Empire might command fleets and armies, but humans commanded imagination, courage, and intellect. The unknown craft had revealed that raw power was meaningless without understanding, and humans had begun to demonstrate that understanding in ways no other species could match. As the ship prepared to leave the ancient station, a final pulse from the craft radiated through the void. It was longer, steadier, and brighter than before. Humans interpreted it as respect, acknowledgement, and an invitation to continue the journey. Alara looked at her crew. The Empire may be on the brink, but humans are ready. We have learned, adapted, and proven ourselves. Whatever comes next, we will meet it, not with weapons alone, but with intelligence, courage, and persistence. And in the vast darkness of space, the unknown craft disappeared once more, faster than any human or imperial vessel could follow, but leaving behind knowledge, trust, and the unmistakable truth. The galaxy's future was no longer determined by the strongest fleets, but by the species willing to learn, adapt, and rise to the challenge. The stage was set for the final encounter. Humans had not just survived the first test, they had shown what made them exceptional. The Empire would soon realize that speed, firepower, and fear were no match for human ingenuity. The unknown craft had been a mystery for weeks. Its incredible speed, strange patterns, and unexplained intelligence had challenged every Empire fleet and every warship in the galaxy. Yet the humans aboard the Horizon's Edge had followed it, decoded its signals, and discovered its purpose. Captain Alara Voss now understood what no other species in the Empire had. The craft was a test, and humanity was the first species capable of passing it. The ship floated silently in the void near the ancient station they had explored. Every crew member worked at their consoles, monitoring energy readings and interpreting new pulses from the craft. It had stopped moving erratically and hovered in a deliberate orbit. Alara knew this meant it was ready for direct contact. "Prepare for approach," she ordered. "Keep calm, move slowly, show respect." The crew obeyed. Unlike Imperial warships, humans did not rely solely on shields, weapons, or size. Their strength lay in observation, understanding, and courage. Each movement was calculated, each decision considered. Even as the unknown craft loomed larger on the viewscreen, no one panicked. Then it happened. A pulse of golden energy expanded outward, enveloping the horizon's edge. The ship's systems flickered under the intensity, yet the humans felt no harm. Instead, they sensed something else: awareness, intelligence, even curiosity. The craft was observing them as carefully as they observed it. Alara's heart raced. "It's communicating, not with words but with intent. We must respond properly." Using the pattern-based communication they had developed, the humans sent a series of energy pulses back, mirroring the craft's sequence. Hours passed in silence, broken only by the faint hum of the ship's systems and the occasional observation from Kale or Lyra. Slowly, the pulses began to change. They shifted from tests into more complex sequences, almost like sentences or statements. "It's teaching us or testing us further," Lyra said. Her eyes reflected both fear and excitement. "Every response we make shapes what it does next." Alara nodded. "Then we show it who we are. Humans are not perfect. We make mistakes, but we learn. That is our strength." For the next 2 days, the humans matched the craft's movements, responding to pulses, decoding new signals, and exploring the possibilities. The craft guided them to a hidden nebula, a place of breathtaking beauty. Colors danced in the void like waves, and the humans could feel the energy of the stars surrounding them. The craft's signals suggested that the nebula was a living record, a place where civilizations' knowledge could be preserved for those capable of understanding. The Empire's fleets, meanwhile, were lost in confusion. They tried to follow the humans, but their rigidity and reliance on brute force prevented them from making sense of the signals. Some commanders wanted to attack, others panicked and retreated. Every attempt failed. Only humans could navigate this delicate encounter. Alara realized that the craft had not come to challenge strength or weapons. It had come to measure intelligence, adaptability, and empathy. The humans had proven they could observe, learn, and respond under pressure, qualities the Empire often overlooked. Then came the ultimate test. The craft projected a massive energy field around the horizon's edge, enveloping them completely. Inside, images and sensations flooded the ship. Humans saw glimpses of civilizations long lost, advanced technologies beyond imagination, and patterns of life that connected countless species. Yet the most striking revelation was this: the craft was not an invader, not a weapon, but a guardian. It had searched the galaxy for species capable of understanding knowledge, respecting life, and using intelligence responsibly. Alara's crew gasped as they realized the significance. Humans were the first to reach this stage. They had demonstrated patience, creativity, courage, and cooperation. Every movement, every decision, every calculated response had proven their worth. "Captain," Kale whispered, awe in his voice, we did it. It recognizes us." Alara looked out at the golden light surrounding the ship. "Yes, and this is only the beginning. Humanity now has a chance to set an example for the entire galaxy, not through fear, not through weapons, but through intellect and courage." The craft then shifted. It accelerated briefly and positioned itself above the horizon's edge. Through their energy-based communication, it transmitted what the humans understood as a message. Knowledge, understanding, and cooperation define true power. Species that fail to respect these will be left behind. Alara realized that the Empire, with all its fleets and armies, had failed this simple test. Only humans, small and underestimated, had shown the qualities necessary to navigate the challenge. This realization filled her with both pride and determination. The humans followed the craft to a nearby system, where a planet rich with natural resources and ancient ruins awaited. The craft's signals indicated that this place had once been a hub of interstellar learning. Humans explored carefully, cataloging everything. Each discovery offered insights into energy manipulation, faster-than-light travel, and sustainable technologies. This knowledge could reshape civilizations, but only if approached responsibly. Over the next week, the humans continued to learn from the craft. It moved at impossibly high speeds, yet always guided them in a way they could follow. They uncovered star charts, ancient knowledge banks, and even messages from civilizations that had long vanished. Each piece of information reinforced one truth: the galaxy's greatest treasures were not weapons, but understanding, adaptability, and intelligence. Meanwhile, the Empire remained trapped in its mindset of fear and aggression. Fleet admirals sent messages demanding the humans leave the craft behind and return. Some even threatened attack. Alara ignored them. She knew that no threat of violence could match the lessons the humans were learning. Then came a moment of clarity. The craft projected a massive sphere of light, showing a simulation of potential futures. In one vision, the Empire used force alone, attempting to seize knowledge. It collapsed, unable to comprehend the craft's guidance, leaving billions of stars without protection. In another vision, humans guided by intelligence, cooperation, and courage created alliances, preserved civilizations, and advanced without destroying. Alara turned to her crew. "We have a choice," she said. "We can lead with wisdom or follow the path of destruction. Humanity will not fail. We will show the galaxy what we are capable of." The craft pulsed one final time, signaling approval. It accelerated away at incomprehensible speed, leaving humans with the knowledge they had earned and the responsibility to use it wisely. Humanity had passed the ultimate test. Returning to the human-controlled station, the crew of the Horizon's Edge received news of the Empire's fleets. Confused, disorganized, and increasingly fearful of what they could not understand, the Imperial command struggled to maintain authority. News spread quickly. Humans had communicated with the unknown craft, uncovered ancient knowledge, and survived where even the largest fleets could not. Ilara's message to the Empire was simple: we have learned, we have adapted, and we will lead, not through fear, but through understanding. For the first time, humans were recognized not just as participants in the galaxy, but as leaders capable of shaping the future. They had proven that courage, intelligence, and adaptability were more powerful than any fleet or weapon. In the weeks that followed, humans shared their discoveries with select allies, establishing a network of knowledge and cooperation. The galaxy began to see a new standard. Strength alone was meaningless without wisdom, courage alone was meaningless without compassion, and speed alone was meaningless without understanding. Ilara looked at her crew as they prepared for the next journey. "The Empire may be on the brink," she said, "but humanity has a chance to define the future. We have learned from the unknown, and now we will teach the galaxy what it means to survive and thrive through intelligence, courage, and heart." And so, as the horizon's edge departed for the stars once more, humanity had changed the course of history. The unknown craft, impossibly fast and unknowable, had come and gone, but it had left behind a lasting truth. In the galaxy's vast darkness, the brightest light was not speed or firepower, but the indomitable human spirit.